Hello everyone and welcome to the Belt and Road Face to Face.
Our daily test rate is around 30,000 per day.
2 weeks, very painful lockdown policy can eliminate can shut down most of the transmission of the virus.
From China to learn is the only thing is the cooperation from the public. Here in Beijing, you will see everybody is wearing a mask at every time.
Try to make the balance between the lockdown and the local domestic economy demand. They try to find some neutral way.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Belt and Road Face to Face. Our program is co-produced by China Economic Net and Vash News Television. I'm Zoon Khan from China Economic, and today I am pleased to be joined in our studio by Mahmood Zafaruddin, who is from Pakistan and also former Special Envoy for China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. And we also have with us Ye Hailin, Vice President and Secretary General of National Institute of International Strategy, Chinese Academy of Social Sciences. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
Let's begin the first part of our program, Hotspot. Recently, a lockdown warning and calling for better compliance with COVID-19 standard operating procedures is issued by the National Command and Operations Center. They also declared the transport sector, markets, marriage halls, restaurants, and public gatherings as high-risk areas. The center had advised provinces to focus on them and take steps to prevent the spread of the virus. The next few months are going to be very tough, and some countries are on a dangerous track, said WHO Chief Dr. Tedros, issued a virus warning during a press conference about the possible threats of the virus. And earlier, Prime Minister Imran Khan also said that a second wave of COVID-19 is likely in the coming months, October and November, in cities where pollution levels are especially high. The whole world is taking precautions to prevent the second wave and the epidemic in winter especially. China has also made a lot of effort in this regard. So, Mr. Zafar, let's come to you first. We have deep cooperation with China. In the epidemic experience especially, we know that both countries have collaborated a lot. How do you think we can learn from China's experience?
As you have said, that the country with the high pollution rate, they are more likely to get affected by the second wave. And incidentally, Lahore was declared the most polluted city in the world just a few days ago. The second wave is already there, and every country is making efforts. Pakistan is doing its bit, whatever it can. But there are a few things which are very important, which we must learn from China. Number one is the desire of the government to control the disease and the cooperation of the general public. And the third, which is more important, is the availability of resources, which unfortunately Pakistan doesn't have much. Our daily test rate is around 30,000 per day, which is very small as compared to the population of 200 million. So what we can do is only by taking precautionary measures, as the government is instructing now. We are having a lockdown at selected places. We are trying to minimize the timing of the market opening. We are trying to reduce the number of crowds wherever it is possible. So I think this is what we can do within our limited capacities. And from China to learn is the only thing is the cooperation from the public. Here in Beijing, you will see everybody is wearing a mask at every time. So this is something not forced by the government, but I think the people, they genuinely feel that they have to protect themselves. So I think that is the most important part for us.
How is it that Pakistani government and the people responsible can make the public more aware? How was China able to do it?
We should take the lessons from the first wave of this COVID-19, take the lockdown policy seriously. There are so many countries, they have to re-lock down their city, their transportation system, and they have to adopt a very serious, very harsh quarantine policy. The only difference between China and some Western countries is that at the first phase of the COVID-19, Chinese people and Chinese government take this lockdown policy very seriously. We see a lot of people in a lot of countries, they don't take the COVID-19 very seriously. They still think this is a big flu. And when they adopt the lockdown policies, they always leave kind of the convenience or some kind of, just as I said, they close the door but leave the window open. So they try to make the balance between the lockdown and the local domestic economy demand. They try to find some neutral way. Actually, there's no neutral way. I think this is the most important lessons or experiments China can share with the whole world. 2 weeks, very painful lockdown policy can eliminate can shut down most of the transmission of the virus. But if you take the kind of the semi-lockdown policy, do not take this policy very seriously, and finally you will pay much longer and very painful lockdown policy. Now, we understand that in some country, maybe the people, it's not affordable for them to endure the 2 weeks lockdown because there's so many 1 day's payment workers, quite painful. But still, there's the same question. If you don't pay the price, finally you will pay high price.
Mr. Zafar, we also know that even though COVID has led to some uncertainty, there has been a lot of cooperation between China and Pakistan. So can you talk a little bit about what are these new avenues that were created?
There has been tremendous support and help from the Chinese government. The Chinese have sent so many shipments of the medical equipment and materials which we were in badly need of, starting from masks to ventilators, to test kits and everything and whatnot. We had almost 3 or 4 medical teams which came there, which stayed with us, and they guided our doctors how to treat the patient. So I think this has opened a new avenue of cooperation between the two countries, which was not there before, because the Chinese government's capacity to handle such emergencies is enormous, which is better than any other country of the world. And as you might be knowing, that testing the Chinese vaccine and the third layer of the testing has already started, and I'm sure that we will be one of the beneficiaries of the vaccines once it is developed in China. But I think from Pakistani side, it's important that we must devise a mechanism in which in future we can have more closer cooperation with the Chinese medical system. Not only to cope with the emergencies like that, but even in the normal circumstances to provide basic medical facilities to the people.
Yeah.
Our recovery rate is much better, especially as compared to our neighboring country, India.
Yes.
And of course, as compared to many countries in Europe. And I think it has a lot to do with the Chinese medical teams who visited in the first phase as early as possible, and they helped teach our doctors and advise them how they have been treating the patients here. Exactly. So I think we have learned a lot from their experience.
What are the key sectors that our countries, China and Pakistan, can work on post-pandemic?
I don't know whether it has to do anything with the pandemic or not, but I think as the second phase of the CPEC, we must increase our industrial cooperation, because after developing the infrastructure, we must find the avenues wherein we can generate employment opportunities for our people, and we can also enhance our exports. So this was the most important part of the CPEC in the second phase. But unfortunately, I must say that even till today, we have not been able to operationalize one of the special economic zones which we were supposed to do. And we were supposed to attract the Chinese industry to go and set up or relocate in Pakistan. So I think we are wasting time. We have to hurry up and do that. The Chinese side, as I have lots of friends and I speak with them, they are all willing and ready, but they are waiting for the signal from the Pakistani side.
In China, we believe that there's a lot of challenges, but every challenge will leave a chance for the cooperation. And I think the COVID-19 pandemic is the same, that we, through this pandemic, when we're addressing this crisis, we can figure out on the social welfare and also the public health. So now it's time for China and Pakistan. We work together to set up this vanguard leading example to show to the whole world that through the cooperation and coordination, we can address, we can control the disease, we can address this crisis, the so-called mindset of the populism, and also the ideology of the try to isolate themselves away from the globalized world is wrong.
One should not expect that the public transport system will make money. It never makes money anywhere in the world.
If you build a road, and the car will come.
To bring it in coordination with the surroundings so that it can bring its economic impact.
Most of the Chinese people and Pakistan people, when we read the story about another country, actually the story is given by the Western mass media.
Initiate the idea, to launch, to execute, to complete, and to benefit within a very short period of time.
You are watching the Belt and Road Face to Face, and we are about to enter the second part of our program, Figure. The Orange Line Metro Train, OLMT, project in Pakistan was completed and delivered on October 9th, officially put into operation on the 25th of October. It has also been reported that the provincial government's latest approval of the metro train fare of 40 rupees, running at a 34.8 km per hour speed, the trains, which have a maximum speed of 80 km per hour, will complete the end-to-end travel within 45 minutes. All trains will stop at all 26 stations on the 27-kilometer long route from Ali Town to Dera Gujran in Lahore. It will also pass through the urban areas of Lahore, carrying more than 250,000 passengers on a day-to-day basis. This will provide convenient transportation for 8.8 million people and is expected to save people 60 billion rupees every year, while effectively alleviating urban congestion, environmental pollution, and other issues that we have been facing. The government has also decided to dedicate an annual subsidy of 5.62 billion rupees for this project. So the Orange Line Metro Train project is the first infrastructure project contracted under the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. Why subway construction is a necessity for urban development, Mr. Zafar, in your opinion?
There had been a lot of discussions about this project in Pakistan in the recent past. But I think for the urban development, the mass transit system is extremely important, especially for the cities like Lahore, which are expanding horizontally. Unfortunately, we did not have any public transport system, and for that matter, we don't have in the entire Pakistan. So it was a great initiative by the government of Pakistan and a good cooperation between the two sides. I'm happy that the project has finally started, although it has been delayed for 2 years, which has not been in our interest. And as you have very rightly mentioned, that the public will be saving 60 billion rupees per year, which is a huge saving as compared to the subsidy of 5.6 billion rupees per year, which the government of Punjab will have to pay. But the public transport system anywhere in the world is subsidized. Even in Beijing, till a few years ago, the metro was only about 2 yuan. You travel anywhere, which is equivalent to almost 40 rupees. And this has been going on for the last 50 years. So one should not expect that the public transport system will make money. It never makes money anywhere in the world. So I think the government should look at the overall benefit, as you have mentioned in your preamble, that the savings to the general public, the improvement in mobility, the reduction in pollution, and these are the benefits which the city of Lahore will be getting, and it will be setting an example for other cities to follow.
And given that Lahore is a city with almost 20 million people, it seems almost bizarre that we never invested in a public transport system. China has invested a lot in public transport. Beijing has a 50-year history with the metro system. What have been the benefits?
The public transportation system can enlarge the people's living space. That means you can very easy to find a job. This office may be 20 or 30 kilometers away from your apartment. And if you have the very sophisticated and complete the public transportation system, it will only take the hour. So we can find more chance. If you go to the Beijing subway system in the early morning, you go to any metro station, you will see thousands of people around the station, and you can feel the energy. When the people travel around, you will see after a whole day, their life will be changed. Public transportation system is not a benefit for the local government, but it will be beneficial for all the people and change the people's life. So you don't earn the money from the metro system only on this system themselves, but you will create many chances or many opportunities for the ordinary people, especially for young people, and they can change their life.
beside the public transportation, the benefit China has done which is a China specific again, that wherever the subway passes through, the real estate around the subway station develops. So, it activates the economy. So, by getting more income from these projects, the subsidy which is paid for the public transport could be compensated. Like you look at the railway system in China now, wherever the high-speed train is going, there is a new city coming into emergence. So, this is how you activate the entire economy, not only by the local transport, the urban transport system. Now you could see there are a lot of office buildings just next to the metro station. So people, they get out of the station, they enter to the office. Similarly, in the suburbs, you have the apartment buildings just next to the metro station. It shortens the distance, and of course, it increases the value of real estate around those stations.
Many years before, we also have such kind of a public debate that when we build an expressway, and there's only few cars will drive on the way, and so it's kind of a waste of the public fund or the government or financial capacity. But if you build a road, and the car will come. You don't build a road only because of how many cars. Now they need to travel from the city 1 to city B, and due to this calculation, you build an expressway 4 tracks or 8 tracks. You don't. There is a road. They will make the more people want to travel along with this road, and you will inspire the more people's motivation. They want to go there. It's only because of it's very convenient to go there. Before the Olympic Games in 2008 in China, we built a fast road, the expressway to link the top north to the downtown. And then at that time, so many people complained that this is totally waste. There's no many people, no many cars. But now it's the most crowded transportation system in Beijing. So this proves a lot.
Anything you cannot develop in isolation. It has to be a comprehensive and coordinated effort. When you develop a metro system, then obviously there are a lot of other things which should follow. It is the government's responsibility to have a long-term vision of something. So to educate the public, the benefit for that, and then the public has seen in China, as you are rightly saying, that now even today the roads are still overcrowded. Yeah. And I remember very well, and he would agree with me, that 20 years ago or 30 years ago, there were hardly any cars on the roads. Yeah. The government, the people in the planning, they have a vision to see 20 years beyond today. And then they develop one thing as a part of the whole development plan, not that we just create one orange line and then we sit down and they say that's the end of it. No, we have to work hard to bring it in coordination with the surroundings so that it can bring its economic impact.
You have spearheaded CPEC related development, the cooperation. Can you share some inspiring stories?
The most difficult part was to educate ourselves and our people about the benefits of some of the projects which are already in operation today. I'll just give you one example that 5 years ago, there was acute shortage of electricity in our country, and we were having the load management, so to say, of up to 12 hours, even big cities like Karachi, Lahore, Islamabad and all that. And after the CPEC's projects, first launch of the energy projects, now almost there is no load management in any city of the country. So this is the benefit of CPEC. But at the beginning, we have lots of issues. People were talking about the interest rate of the loans which the Chinese companies are getting, why the permissions are given so quickly, why because the time we have in our country, because of the procedural formalities, so to say, we waste a lot of time. So I must give full credit to the government and of course the support from the Chinese side that we will able to not only to initiate the idea, to launch, to execute, to complete and to benefit within a very short period of time. I think the same spirit is today needed to continue the second phase of the CPEC. Otherwise, we shall not be able to get the complete benefit of this initiative.
And Professor, here, of course, it's the Pakistani side that needs to realize the long-term impact of these investments. How can Pakistan convince more Chinese people that, you can relocate your businesses to Pakistan or visit Pakistan? It's a beautiful country.
After this pandemic, there will be more interested. more Chinese people have the strong interest to go to visit Pakistan. But the question is that how we can create a new image for both of countries. Most of the Chinese people and Pakistan people, when we read the story about another country, actually the story is given by the Western mass media.
Yes.
It's not from our own media. So try to set up the direct contact between the two peoples in this cyberspace. That's quite important. Now everyone, it's very easy to access the smartphone. So I think to create a very consolidated and potential bridge for both of the countries, especially the young people. Of course, language is one issue, but anyway, we have the TikTok and the many things. We can not only read, we can see.
We can see.
Yeah, that's the quite difference.
I think as a Pakistani, we should not put all the responsibility on the Chinese side.
Yes.
We have to create an enabling environment in our country so that the Chinese companies can go and invest.
Yes.
In China now, the situation is the companies, they make their decision purely on commercial basis. You are too young to know that how China attracted the foreign investment into their country. They were reaching out to the whole world, arranging conferences, seminars, giving incentives to the people that please come and invest in China. So the investment doesn't come by encouragement, it becomes by effort. There were a lot of Pakistani movies and dramas.
As far as I remembered, there is a movie called Reluctant Fundamentalist, produced by Doha Film Institute. Yeah, it's a Pakistan fiction, but this movie is not came from Pakistan.
I hope that this will open door for the Pakistani filmmakers to make more effort
to build our common industry.
We must have some good documentaries, which we must exchange with the CCTV.
Even we can start from the food, the local cuisine.
You're watching the Belts and Road Face to Face, and we're about to enter the third part of our program, culture. The Pakistani film Parwaz Hai Janoon has been scheduled to be released in China on the 13th of November. It is also the first Pakistani film to be released in China after 45 years. The film tells the story of a group of young fighter pilots who risk their lives for the protection of their people. The fourth generation fighter JF-17, jointly developed by China and Pakistan, also appeared in the film. Previously, the film has created the highest box office record in Pakistan and has signed an introduction agreement during the Second Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation, which opened up a new mode of cultural exchange and cooperation between both of our countries. So this year, China's box office revenue has exceeded $2 billion, surpassing North America for the first time. So Mr. Ye, Professor Ye, for you, how optimistic are you about the Chinese film industry and also this movie's success?
Personally, I'm looking forward to see the movie, and I will definitely make the contribution for these movies in Chinese market, of course. But we should notice that it's not only commercial, it's also a cultural. You know, for the couple of years, well, actually for almost more than 20 years, most of the foreign produced movies in Chinese market is American movie, it's Hollywood. But now I think it's time we need to make some change. We also want to find out how about our neighboring country, our brothers, what did they like 45 years before there was a Pakistan movie. And for the last 40 years, nothing. So it's access to Chinese market on time, but it's also very late. Point is that it's a commercial market. Good film need a good story. And you have to touch the people's heart. I think in this point, I think this movie, we are going to see that. And I think that most of the more and more young people will find, okay, me and my brothers, we live in the same world. We can have the same feeling. That's quite important.
I was here in China 45 years ago, and there were a lot of Pakistani movies and dramas. It's not true it was 45 years, because in the late 70s, in the early 80s, and the professor movie which he's talking about was the Yong and the Ai Ching. And I remember it was Mera Naam Hai Mohabbat. It was so popular. The actor and the actress, they also came to China and they were very warmly welcomed. But again, I think with the opening up of China, we should have enhanced our cultural cooperation. But unfortunately, because of our own fault, it stopped there and then. In the 70s and 80s, China was only importing movies from the Eastern European countries, Russia and other countries. But after that, China was bombarded with movies from every country in the world, say starting from Iran, I must say South Korea, Japan, and every country in the world, but Pakistan was missing. I think the problem is with us.
Okay.
Because we did not make any effort, so we have to find the fault within us. We cannot expect, and then because our people, they did not make any effort.
Exactly.
So they didn't see. Look at China now, as you have seen, that the $2 billion box office is a lot of money.
Yeah.
But later on, we stopped doing that. Not the private sector, not the public sector. So we are here. So I must commend this gentleman who has made this movie. Although this movie has a little thing, it's based on the patriotism. It has a small hint of the Chinese because they are using the JF-17 aircraft, which is built in Chengdu in China. I hope that this will open door for the Pakistani filmmakers to make more effort, come to China to explore the possibilities of making movies here. And as my friend has said, that this is the best tool now to enhance understanding and cooperation. Similarly, the Pakistani side should also make an effort to bring in the Chinese dramas, movies. They are very good, very modern. They should be dubbed into Pakistani language, and the Chinese filmmakers and the drama makers should also make an effort to send their dramas to Pakistan.
Film movie makers, they can work together to have them join the venture to co-produce some movies. You know, most of the Chinese people, their understanding on Pakistan came from the Hollywood movie. And that was very interesting part. That's as far as I remembered, there is a movie called The Reluctant Fundamentalist, produced by Doha Film Institute.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah, it's a Pakistan fiction, but this movie is not came from Pakistan.
Yes, it did.
So I think China or Pakistan film makers, we can find many potential to work together to build our common industry.
If we have a film that's showcasing Pakistan's beautiful sceneries, historical, I mean the heritage we share, we have Gandhara civilization, we have a lot of places that could promote tourism.
True. I think this is needed from the both sides. We must have some good documentaries, which we must exchange with the CCTV, and at the same time, these movies, fictions and all that, these are also needed to be made, because you know the Chinese people are fond of watching movies and dramas and all that. So are we. But we must try to find a common interest point where we can. I like this movie, although I haven't seen it, but I have read the comments. This is a movie which shows the patriotism, sacrificing for your country. So the Chinese people will definitely going to like that. So I must encourage the group which has made this movie that they should do more such efforts, not only on this side and also on the Chinese side, and then they can bring the culture together. Even
we can start from the food. You know, the local cuisine has always been a very important topic for the Chinese young people. And there's so many people, they traveled abroad for the recent years, and also go back to our film topic discussion. Actually, there's a series of movie. It's about the Chinese people who have the travel on abroad. There's we in Thailand, in the other countries, there are already many stories. If there's a movie about Chinese young people find their value of their life, meaning of their life in Pakistan, they will be very interesting and very inspiring.
We know that even though we are facing challenges globally, and both China and Pakistan have as well, we have made some achievements, some significant achievements within the cooperation of CPEC. Thank you for watching. Until next time, goodbye.